Vladimir Putin said there were high-precision strikes this morning targeting energy, military and management facilities in Ukraine. What has actually been hit and how serious were those strikes this morning?
Well, actually, we don't have much evidence of military infrastructure being hit. We have accounts of, and we have video footage of a pedestrian bridge being hit in Kiev, a striking image of a missile narrowly missing it, and a Ukrainian man out for a morning jog. Remarkably, doesn't hit the deck. He sort of just breaks into a bit more of a run than he would otherwise, as this massive explosion goes off to his right. We've seen transport hubs, or at least a transport intersection, somewhere described by a Ukrainian MP as akin to Hyde Park Corner in London, being hit in the Ukrainian capital, and also a park as well. So the Russians, it seems, going for sort of landmark targets there. But further to the west in Lviv, it seems the power has been knocked out. One report of a hospital there, the main city hospital, being knocked out completely in terms of electricity supply. Something similar going on in Kharkiv, power and energy infrastructure hit there, and also in Dnipro, telecoms hit as well. So it looks as though the Russians are mainly going for what you might call critical civilian infrastructure, so energy, transport, communication installations and the like, which is basically what Putin says in that address. I think in that address, it's interesting what he says Russia is hitting, why it's hitting it, and also what could be to come. And he's blaming this, saying it's effectively retaliation for what the Ukrainians are doing in Russia and in Ukraine as well, accusing the Ukrainians of carrying out terrorist attacks in actions he says are in line with international terrorist organisations, attacking the Turk Stream gas pipeline, for instance, from Russia that supplies gas from Russia to Turkey and to Europe, saying that, as Diana was saying, they're going for a number of other installations, including in Kursk and Belgorod, and saying that those attacks on civilian installations are terrorist, while basically saying the Russians are attacking very similar targets in Ukraine and presenting that as perfectly acceptable under the laws of war. And this, you know, targeting a pedestrian bridge or a park where there's a playground clearly could be seen as a war crime, unless there was a very good military reason for attacking an objective like that. I think what's interesting about this address as well is he's saying that he seems to be saying this is a like-for-like response for what the Ukrainians are doing, and if the Ukrainians attack more civilian pieces of infrastructure. He doesn't talk about the Kerch Bridge, but I think that is one of the main motivations for the timing of this attack. That key artery between Crimea and mainland occupied Ukraine that was almost completely taken out, it seems, by the Ukrainians over the weekend. What he's implying in this speech is that if there's more of that, if the Ukrainians want to dance in terms of attacking critical infrastructure, the Russians can do so and return the favour. And I think what's really intriguing about this is I think there's an assumption being made throughout this conflict that the Russians haven't done this till now because they have been running out of these precision-guided missiles. But what Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, said in his speech was that the Russians seem to be using Shahed Iranian drones. Now, they've been recently supplied by the Iranians to Russia, and if they've been used to this effect today, that might mean that the Russian arsenal has been bolstered, that even if it is running out of precision-guided missiles, it's got more to draw on, and therefore it's got a greater capability to carry out this kind of widespread, countrywide attack on infrastructure in the future, which is a worrying escalation, of course, for the Ukrainians.